Hello everyone, Earl Henderson, Primordial Defense. Thank you for watching. I have another Monday quarterback video for you. I'm going to play this video and pause intermittently here and there to talk about things that are going on, to better explain what's going on, and talk about things that I think that are being done right and or done wrong. Without further ado, here we go.
I'm Sergeant Vincent Cole with the Phoenix Police Department Public Affairs Bureau. The information, audio, video, and pictures you're about to see are intended to provide details as we currently understand them of an officer-involved shooting that occurred on May 29th, 2022. This video may contain strong language as well as graphic images which could be disturbing to some people. Viewer discretion is advised. This incident occurred in the area of 24th Street and Cactus Road when Phoenix Police received a call of a domestic dispute involving a firearm. The man with the firearm was later identified as Tony Brown. An adult female in the home placed a 911 call where she mentions that Mr. Brown has a firearm and has fired several shots in and around the home. Here are several excerpts from that 911 call.
Do not, don't put your gun down.
Where is your emergency?
I have a husband that's having a meltdown.
Okay, what is your address?
Phoenix 85028. He's having a meltdown. There is a gun in the house.
Let's go. Let's go.
Okay, this is a house, and you said he's having a meltdown. Is he diagnosed with any mental?
No, he's not. But he's drunk and stupid, and he's being very destructive.
Well, let's go.
Okay, what is his first and last name?
Tony Brown. Now, ow! He just shot in the door.
You said he shot in the door? All right.
He shot in the door, and I'm in here.
Are you able to go upstairs away from the front door?
Oh my God, he's shooting at my door. He's shooting at my door.
Can you go upstairs?
No, I can't go anywhere. He's shooting in the door. He's shooting the door up.
Get away from
He's shooting the door up.
Can you get away from the front door?
I'm in the bedroom, but if he comes in here, he lost it.
Okay, you said he's shooting. Are you able to get away from the front door?
He's shooting in the door. He's probably, oh my, no, please, woo! He wants a shootout, is what he just said.
Fucker wants to go. Let's
go. He
go.
wants a shootout.
And that's what he's screaming. That's what he's screaming. I don't know what's wrong with him.
Okay, and was your husband in the back of the house or
He's in the front yard. He's in the front yard.
He's outside.
I see the officers on the corner. He's in the street He's in the street with a gun, and he's just been.
Okay, he's in the front yard in the street.
He's in the front yard in the street, and he's pointing guns at people.
While officers were en route to the call, they learned that Brown began shooting the firearm in the air. Here is a portion of that radio traffic.
415 Frank 390 husband named Tony, being physical, holding a gun in his hand.
415 Frank is the police radio code for domestic violence. 390 is the police radio code for an intoxicated person.
He's waving it around.
Yeah, can we try to get us cars with the shield 17? If we try to get one or two fire units.
And they're saying that he's a white male, 5'9", 200 pounds. Another thing, he's shooting the gun in the air. He's wearing a black tank top, gray shorts in front of the house, and let off 3 shots, so it sounds like he's outside. He does not have access to a vehicle. All the keys are inside of the house, and he shot 3 times in the air, walking back and forth now in front of the house. 4 units responding, 21st Avenue.
A couple more rounds.
There's only 2 or 600 units to switch over to Charlie 6, references 415 Frank. The subject is shooting in the air. We only have 4 units going.
Patrol CC3, survey the aircraft and the K9, please.
10-4.
Patrol C3, the units coming 23 together. Start creating a crisis entry team just in case. And start moving up as soon as the aircraft comes 23. You can guide them in.
Body-worn cameras are used by all officers assigned to patrol and several specialty units. Per policy, they are worn at mid-torso level and capture the view of the line of sight from that perspective. It's important to note that the body camera does not capture everything the officer sees, and the officer does not see everything the body camera captures. When activated, both audio and video turn on. The body-worn camera has a buffer of video without audio for the 30 seconds prior to activation. This feature is designed to capture incidents that happen suddenly where an officer doesn't immediately activate the camera. The Phoenix Police Department does not currently use in-car camera systems. As officers arrived in the area, they staged a short distance away and were able to hear Brown firing off rounds.
And we can hear him shooting out a couple more rounds.
Officers developed a plan to contact the subject, including deploying a stun bag, which is a less lethal option, and drove to a location closer to the house. As they approached the residence, they found Brown outside, still armed. Officers gave several commands to Brown to drop the gun before he pointed the firearm at officers. That is when the officer-involved shooting occurred.
He's waving it in the air. Drop the gun! Drop the gun!
Okay, so they are going to a call where a person has a gun and has been shooting it. But yet we see this officer with a pistol only. Now, this video I'm doing, I have not watched it yet before this. I'm doing it live, so to speak. I'm playing it and just pausing and talking. So I don't know if any other officers at this point have rifles out, but this one's got a pistol out. And this is one of my biggest gripes in these videos is officers responding to calls that involve guns and they flat out neglect to get their rifles out or their long guns and instead just get out with a handgun. Now, obviously, this officer is appearing to be operating this motor vehicle and is stopped. However, that does not mean that completely excludes him from being able to have a rifle put into play. Now, with all this being said, I have no idea if this agency has patrol rifles in the vehicles or not. I would suspect that they probably do, but I don't know that for sure. So, if this vehicle had a patrol rifle or shotgun in the car, then this officer should have had that long gun out and put it into play. If the long gun was in the cab of the vehicle, it would certainly be a lot easier for this officer to be able to get that long gun out and put it into play. What I would recommend is going to a shots fired call or any other call involving weapons and violence and an increased likelihood of having to use deadly physical force. Doesn't matter if the rifle is in the cab of the vehicle or in the trunk or cargo hold of the vehicle, I would recommend pulling over while en route to the call, and before you get to the scene, pull over, dismount the rifle from wherever it's at, whether it's in the trunk, the cargo hold, or the magnetic lock or key lock, whatever, in the cab of the vehicle. Dismount it from there, charge it, and it should have a sling. If a rifle does not have a sling on it, then it's not properly equipped. But if it has a sling on it, take that sling and drape it around your neck like a 1-point configuration and have the rifle sitting between your legs when you get back in the vehicle. That way, when you pull that vehicle up on scene, you can quickly dismount from the vehicle and have that rifle in hand, ready to go. Some people, if the rifle is in the cab of the vehicle, can, while they're going to the call, while they're not to the call, they could take the rifle out of its mount and slip it over their head while they're driving. Of course, that increases risk of, losing control of the vehicle, which is why I said just, pull off the side of the road and get that out, charge it up, and then continue to the scene. And you get there, boom, you've got a rifle to put into play. Rifles outperform pistols every day of the week. There's no contest to that. I don't care what kind of argument that you could ever try to bring up to say otherwise. It's a known fact. Rifles beat pistols. The only reason pistols are carried on a daily basis is because they're comfortable and convenient, You can wear them 8, 10, 16, 24 hours out of the day and they don't really hurt. And because you're not getting in the gunfights every single freaking day. It would be different if a police agency experienced gunfights almost every day of the week or multiple times a day throughout the week. That would definitely change things. You would see people start to carry rifles more often when there was an increased likelihood of being involved in a fight, which is why in a war zone you see people carrying around rifles. It just makes more sense to carry around the rifles when you're more likely to be engaged. On a day-to-day basis, all across this nation, individual officers are going their entire career and never having to shoot anyone. Now, they may point their gun at someone at some point, but the overwhelming majority of law enforcement in this nation don't ever have to shoot anyone. So the pistol makes sense as something to be able to carry on you to be able to protect yourself in the event one of these somewhat rare occurrences occur and is a very rapidly evolving dynamic situation that requires the use of deadly physical force. A pistol can deliver incapacitating injuries to a person, but when you compare pistol cartridge to rifle cartridge is the golden winner. it's a top performer. The terminal ballistics, it will cause a lot more devastating injuries than a pistol round could ever dream of doing. So aside from the terminal ballistics, you also have the ability to be more accurate with it and also engage targets at a longer distance more accurately. So we can see, and I'll see if I back it up, I thought they put a little, so they put a little circle mark here showing where he's at. I can't even see within this circle exactly where the fuck this dude's at. I see a truck right there. This is the front of a house. That might be a person, or that might be a fire hydrant. I don't know. But within this circle, just me right now, looking at it, I can't tell there's a person within that circle. Now, obviously, I'm seeing this through the lens of a camera. Although it's the latest generation camera from Axon, still, I can't see what the fuck's in here. So this pistol that this officer has, it's not going to be that accurate at that distance. Not as reliably accurate as a rifle. When it comes to a pistol, you're already at a disadvantage with a pistol, just by its size. So in this instance, a rifle is more appropriate. If you know you're going to a gun call, if you know you're going to a gunfight, bring a rifle and bring all your friends with rifles.
Drop the gun! Drop the gun! He's one. Drop the gun! I gotta get back.
Here's another angle of the incident from the body-worn camera of the officer
There
involved
we go,
in the shooting.
rifle.
He pointed it at us. Guns to his right.
The officer engaged Brown from an extended distance and utilized an optic. This enhanced view is not the actual perspective of the officer.
He pointed it at us.
All right, so that right there is exactly what the fuck I'm talking about. Whenever I talk about rifles, I gripe about rifles versus pistol. This is exactly what the hell I'm talking about. One hit from a rifle and this dude fucking drops. Now, yes, can some people drop with one hit from a pistol? Yes, they can. But it's not as likely to occur as it is with a rifle cartridge. This officer with this rifle and an appropriate optic on it was able to make this shot from this distance, put one round on target, and drop that target. Aside from officer safety, it is also public safety. It is safer for the public when you utilize rifles. Look at the background here. Residential structures. Let's say all the officers had pistols and boom, gunfight happens and these officers return fire with pistols. We know from historical data, that there are going to be misses in gunfights. There's going to be missed rounds. And I've talked about this briefly before in other videos, about why police miss in a lot of gunfights. But misses do occur. And I don't know how many officers are here on scene. It looks at least to be 4. If they all had pistols and they had to return fire, not every single one of their rounds is going to hit that guy. Some of those pistol rounds are going to miss, and they're going to stop into whatever they stop into. That vehicle that he appeared to be walking in front of, that vehicle is going to be hit. Who knows if there's someone in it or not. That house in the background, it looks like 2 windows are visible on this side. Rounds could end up going through those. So not only are rifles a good choice for officer safety to stop a threat, it is also a good choice for the safety of the rest of the public to be able to stop a threat. This officer was able to stop the threat with one well-placed round.
A team was organized and approached Brown following the shooting, but aid was unable to be rendered as he had died from his wounds. Officers at the scene located a firearm near the body of Brown. The officer involved in this incident has 4 years of service with the Phoenix Police Department and is assigned to the Desert Horizon Precinct. This incident is the subject of both an internal and a criminal investigation, which will be reviewed by the Maricopa County Attorney's Office. Conclusions about whether the actions of the officers are consistent with department policy and the law will not be made until all the facts are known and the investigation is complete.
This video was intended to inform and educate the public.
All right, so this is a pretty good video, and just like I said, it very, very clearly illustrates my talking points on rifle versus pistol. So this appears to be the pistol that he used. I'd imagine that this was after they came up to him and took him into custody. I'd say, someone possibly, moved the gun out of the way. Or this is, possibly how the gun fell. Who knows? It appears to be a 1911 style design. You can see some blood on the gun here. So he at least had been in contact with it after he had been shot. So him being shot, falling to the ground, and it falling out of his hand and landing, I don't think is very likely. I'd say probably more likely what has happened is he got shot, he fell down, he still had this in his hand or within close proximity of him, and some blood got onto it, obviously. And then I think as the officers came up to take him into custody, this thing was taken and, could have been kicked away or could have been, kind of, I wouldn't say tossed, but, dropped off of the side. The slide appears to be locked to the rear, and it doesn't appear to be any more rounds inside right in here. It looks like from this right here that a magazine is still in the gun. And so he could have fired the slide lock and didn't have any more rounds in his gun. And he could have been walking around with an empty gun and no more ammo. But there's no way to tell that. There's no way to tell that whatsoever, especially at that distance. Like, you're not going to be able to make out these kind of minute details. And you're not going to be able to sit there and study that gun while this dude's waving it around and then pointing it in your direction. I could never expect anyone to try and squint their eyes and stare very intensely at an object and try and figure out whether or not the damn thing is, one, real, two, if it's fucking loaded or not. Like, that's an unrealistic expectation. So even though there's a possibility that this dude had fired all his rounds, it had no more rounds left, and was just walking around and pointing in an empty gun at officers, it doesn't matter. This guy had already fired rounds, and he pointed a deadly physical weapon at officers. They did the right thing, and they stopped the threat, even though maybe technically he was out of ammo and was no longer a threat. He obviously wanted this to happen. If you look back at the 911 call, he's talking about he's wanting a shootout. He wants to get into a gunfight, blah, blah, blah. So, no idea why he acted this way. The 911 caller had said that he had been drinking, and he's lost it. So, who knows what his stressors were? It could have been her, the 911 caller, that was his stressor. Maybe she set him off. Could have been work-related, finances. I mean, right now, things are kind of tough here in the country. Gas prices are outrageous, and food prices are getting outrageous. So, those are big stressors. They really are. He could have lost his job. It could have been a multitude of things just added up over the years. Never know. But he's obviously lost it, and he wanted this to happen. And there's really no other way around it. I mean, this guy is going around shooting a gun out in public in an urban area, and who else is going to go to this? People want to talk about mental health professionals, social workers. I would not be accepting of the idea of ordering unarmed people to go to a location where there's a person armed with a gun and acting crazy. I just cannot fathom that. I would not be comfortable with that whatsoever. I think that's wrong to do that. Say, hey, you with no gun, no tool to defend yourself, go over there with that dude that has a gun is acting fucking crazy. Go talk to him. And if you don't, there's going to be repercussions. You're going to get fired for not following orders. Like, that's fucking wrong. That is dead fucking wrong. You can't do that to people. You can't tell people to go towards a fucking crazy person with a gun and they be unarmed. Now, if they want to do that voluntarily, that's on them. By all means, that is completely on them if they want to do that on a voluntary basis. But as far as ordering people to go do that shit, hell no. The only way to approach this matter is with police. And even it being police, the standard approach is still the only approach that can be done. There's no de-escalation, mental health crisis approach to this. This dude's walking around shooting a fucking gun while they're there. Some people have some very, very unrealistic ideas and expectations with law enforcement. And a lot of it, I firmly believe, comes from movies. I believe a lot of people base their opinions off shit they've seen in Hollywood. Like this whole bullshit myth that you can shoot a person in the leg to make them stop. And save, and, be able to, keep them alive. That is fucking retarded. These people clearly are watching movies. These people clearly have no formal education in human anatomy or any training of deadly physical force whatsoever. But most importantly, something that they're going to be dealing with every damn fucking day, their own human body. They have no knowledge of the human anatomy. The name femoral artery is probably alien to these people. They don't understand if you shoot someone in the leg and you hit the femoral artery, they will fucking die. But these people, they watch Hollywood and they see someone, they see the hero shoot someone in the leg and it disables them and they're still able to stay alive. It's bullshit. It's fucking bullshit. And so this whole notion, this whole idea that we can approach these mental health things with some fucking good idea fairies, it's not going to work. It's not working. Just like this whole unrealistic, over-the-top approach of just a strong emphasis on de-escalation. I'm not saying de-escalation can't work, but people's expectations of de-escalation being nothing but verbal judo, as if this is going to be a Kevin Spacey moment out of the fucking movie Negotiator, where you just talk shit out and everything's fine. No, that's not going to happen. Some people cannot be talked to. There is no talking to some people. And sometimes, to de-escalate a situation and prevent it from becoming even worse, sometimes the use of physical force is needed to de-escalate that situation. And when you mention that to some people, it blows their fucking mind. They're like, no, you can't use physical force during de-escalation. You're supposed to talk to them. Now, if punching somebody in the fucking face de-escalates the situation, it de-escalates it. If they get punched in the face and they get a touch of reality and they're like, oh shit, I don't want no more of this, I give up. Or it stuns them long enough to be able to get control over them, and you've prevented it from escalating to a deadly physical force, then guess what? You have properly de-escalated that situation. You didn't use your verbal judo skills, but you still de-escalated it. Not much else to say on this video. If you like what you hear and see, go ahead and give me a like and a share. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and stay tuned for more Monday quarterback videos. Earl Henderson, Primordial Defense. Thank you for watching.